Hello, hello. My name is Araya Curry, and I'm so glad that you're here today. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get right into today's topic. Okay, because let me ask y'all a question. Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question. Are you a single mother who wants to relocate, move to a new city, move to a new state with your child, but you don't really know where to start or how to make the move happen? Listen, relocating, okay, it can feel overwhelming, but I'm here to just share my process, how I was able to do it. I moved from Indiana to Florida with my child, okay? And I literally been here for almost a year. Literally, this month makes a year. I just re signed my lease. And so I'm going to give y'all some tips and some insights on how to make this happen for yourself. All right. So first, I'm gonna talk a little bit about my own experience with moving. So I have lived out of the state, from my hometown, pretty much since I graduated high school. Yeah. So I knew what it felt like to live on my own, as far as like living in another state. But this time was different, right? Because the first time when I lived away, I was in the military. So I had the cushion of the military, the safety net of the military, because the military, when you're active duty, you're going to be provided with some housing, whether that's you live on a ship, you live in the barracks, or you got a housing allowance, or you got an apartment out in town. Regardless, you're going to have housing, you're going to have food, and stuff like that. So moving from Indiana to Florida, I feel like was my first real like move on my own, because it wasn't no military safety net, nothing like that. This was just me and my child moving to a new state. And so the first thing I had to do was make a mindset shift. Okay. And that's what you're going to have to do, is make a mindset shift. What is your why? Okay. Why do you even want to move in the first place? And I know, like, and the only reason I'm asking you this is because this process, like, I'm going to give you steps and tips and insights to hopefully make it simple for you. But there is a lot of moving parts, and it's really easy to get discouraged, and it does take a lot of courage to move somewhere when you with no support system, right? So what is your why? Why are you moving? I know for me, first of all, I hate cold weather. So one of my whys was because I had experience living in a place like San Diego, California. I knew I wanted to live somewhere with palm trees, beaches. I want a year round like good weather. I wanted to be somewhere where it was warm. I didn't want no snow, and I just wanted to live somewhere that was just so beautiful, because I understood how it helped with my mental health too. Like the neighborhood that I live in, y'all, like taking walks, like living in Florida, just seeing palm trees, and like the neighborhood that I live in is like really beautiful. Like that is what I knew I wanted for myself. That's the life I saw for myself. And I also was just very clear of the type of environment that I wanted to raise my child in. I grew up Louisville, Kentucky, and then I was living in, after I got out the military and stuff, I moved in with my mom, and we were living in, we lived in Indianapolis for a little bit, but then we moved to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and there's nothing there. Like, I like big cities, skyscrapers. I like cities that are so big that there's all these different areas that just stand alone on their own with things to do. Like in Tampa, we have Ybor, and then there's Soho, and then there's downtown Tampa, and then you can go out towards the outlet malls, and then even if you want to, you can go to Orlando, which is not too, about an hour and a half, 2 hours away, depending on what part. Or you can go to Clearwater, go to the beach. Like, I knew I wanted to live somewhere like that. I wanted to raise my child somewhere like that. I wanted to, that's what I wanted. That was my why. So I want you to get really clear on what your why is, so that you need something to anchor you, something to hold on to when you're going through the process of trying to make this happen, right? Because it can be easy to give up if you don't have a strong enough why. If you're only doing it because it seems cool to do or it looks cool to do, then you're probably not going to follow through with the process, and you'll probably stay where you've been. Okay. And then the second mindset shift that you really have to make is you have to accept that you're going to be living a different lifestyle in exchange for a different environment. What do I mean by that? What I grew up with was when people had, kids and stuff like that, they were in the same town as, usually they're in the same town as like their child's father, or they live where there's family. So I'm not saying it's easy, but you have more options as far as who to ask to like babysit and get help with stuff like that. Me moving to Florida, I don't have that, right? I don't really have a lot of babysitters. you know me and my son's dad, we are like kind of like interstate co-parenting because his dad lives in Alabama and I live in Florida. We were in the military where we met. We're from different places, so that's just kind of how the cookie crumbled. But so my lifestyle is just different, right? I don't have the same type of co-parenting situation like my bestie cousin, where she can be she's in the same city as like her parents, her child's father, his family. Like she has all that support. I don't have all that support. Okay. But I was willing to exchange that to love the environment that I live in, right? Because the way I see it is eventually, how the life I plan to lead, what I have planned for my career, the route it's gonna go, nannies can be hired. Like that's just how I see it. That like the life that I'm building for myself, eventually I'll be able to afford more help with him, and that's just that. And then for me, when my child does go with his dad, that's my me time. That's the time that's the time I'm more outside. I'm doing more things. Listen, y'all, I don't know when I'm going to drop this specific video, but as of right now, I'm having my son since November. He goes with his dad mid-April. Okay. My outfits are already planned, right? Because when I have my son, I'm mainly at home, but when he goes with his dad, then I do my thing. So I accepted a different lifestyle in exchange for the environment. I like my life. Like even with Isaiah, like with having my son, we still go places, we do things. Like the fact that he loves the beach. I have to say it because he's in the room. He might hear me. The beach. He loves the beach. Okay. The fact that he loves that, I love that. That is the life I wanted for my child, for me and my child. So yeah, I might not have much babysitting help. Yeah, like it would be nicer maybe if his dad was here. But it is what it is. I already accepted the fact that I was a single mother. I had already accepted that. So if you've accepted that truly, and you accepted that your child is your responsibility, then I was like, really, like, it wasn't as hard as I thought. It just wasn't. When I have my child, do I miss out on more social events? Yeah. But eventually one day I'll have a nanny. Or, like you meet friends and stuff like that. Especially like if you're a mom, I highly recommend becoming friends with more moms and stuff like that too. Cause I had another mom friend who, she's watched my child before while I went out and stuff like that. So, but you just have to accept that life looks different for you. You just have to accept and it's in exchange for a different environment. So if your why is strong enough, then what are you willing to give up? I was willing to give up having that type of support system in exchange to live somewhere where I love to live. Cause I was living somewhere where when I was in Indiana, I had the support system, but I hated the environment. Like I literally hated the environment. All I talked about was how I was gonna leave, how I was gonna move. That's all I talked about. Up until the fact my mom had to tell me, like, can you please stop bringing that up? Because I don't want to think about you leaving. And you always talking about, like, literally. So if it's worth it to you, then you do what needs to be done. The second thing you need to do is, let me tell you, this is what you need to exist in this country, at least in this world. You need a place to stay, income, your mother, you need childcare, and transportation. Now, what did I do, right? I was like, okay, now, place to stay, right? This can be you roommating with someone for the time being, like I did. Me and my best friend were roommates right? We did one lease. We're going to do another lease together. And we've already discussed that after this lease that we're going to go ahead, and part ways because we've lived together. We at that point we'd be living together for 2 years. So you could see if maybe there's someone else that if you know someone that you would be willing to do that with, possibly roommate. But regardless, even if I didn't have my best friend here, if me and my child, we could have been in a damn 1 bedroom or even a studio apartment, we still would have been in Florida. Like, it was gonna happen regardless. So you need a place to stay. Now, some people I did see on some things, like I know some people, they like to maybe they'll get like an Airbnb or a hotel before they move, and then they get down here, they maybe they have a job already lined up, and then they work until they can get into a new place. I signed a lease before I moved. So if you can, but that's also because my best friend, she was already in Tampa, so she was able to go tour the places. Other than that, you're just pretty much looking at pictures. If you have the means to, maybe drive or fly to the place that you're thinking about moving to, you want to go tour some apartments, I also recommend that. And if you are going to make a trip to go tour, I recommend that you stack those tours, like do multiple tours, so you just kind of get multiple options. Watch videos also on whatever place it is you're trying to move to. See what people like, on YouTube, maybe TikTok, say about living there, what areas are nice or something like that. It always helps if you can find a local that knows the areas, because they'll be able to tell you like, oh, whether it's a good area, a bad area, or, just whatever. So you can do that through looking on YouTube. You can go on TikTok, Instagram. I also really recommend most cities have Facebook groups. I mean, Facebook groups, I'm in so many Facebook groups. They're such a great tool. When I was in San Diego, that's how I found hair stuff. Like, there was like black hair in San Diego. Tampa here, they have, they have all types of groups. Tampa in St. Pete friends, and then they'll ask you, are you moving here? Are you thinking about moving here? Or do you live here? Stuff like that. Like, you can also search Facebook groups for the city that you're thinking about going to. And if you're accepted into the groups, just putting a post out there. Don't be afraid to network. Don't be afraid to be seen. Okay. Just putting a post and saying, hey, like, I'm thinking about moving out here. What areas would you all recommend? Or what's a more affordable area? Or what, ask the locals. Getting insights from the locals is one of the best things and the best things you can do before you move somewhere. So find your place. That's what you want to do to find you a place to stay. You can either, Airbnb or hotel it and have your job set up already, or you can go ahead and sign a lease like I did. And you don't even got to do a year lease. Maybe you can find a place with a 6-month lease, or maybe for the time being, you do one of those, like, they be having like pad split and stuff, like one of those roommate situations. I don't know. If you have a child, you got to be careful with stuff like that. But there are options, and it'll work. This move will work if you want it to. Okay. So income, right? I was applying to so many jobs every day, right? I had made up in my mind late December that I was going to move to Tampa by the end of the first quarter last year, which I did, right? I literally moved March 30th. But I applied to so many jobs from the time I made my mind up to the time, and I'm talking about I'm scrubbing Indeed and scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing and scrubbing. I even got started a Google Career Certificate program, so that I could put that on my resume that I was enrolled in the program, which I was. And that's back when I thought I wanted to be a project manager and stuff. I was trying to force myself to want to be in a certain thing, and it really wasn't for me. But, yeah, so I was like, I did that to try to give my resume a boost. I was applying, phone interview, Zoom interview, and literally up until I landed something. Now, it'll work if you work it. If you only applying to one job a day and you mad you ain't got nothing, you ain't cast your net wide enough. You got to keep, like we're fishing, you got to keep casting your net. You got to keep putting yourself out there, keep applying to jobs, keep getting on the Facebook groups, I was looking at work from home things and all types of stuff. Like, if you want this to work, it'll work, but you have to put in work to make it work. And I know you like, that sounds like a lot of work. Do you want to move or not? Do you want a different environment for you and your child or not? Do you want to change the scenery or not? Because everything can be hard. It was like, put in the work to make this move happen. It's hard, but also it was hard being miserable where I was every day. Just feeling like I hated the place, feeling like I didn't belong here. I didn't want to be here. That was hard too. So figure out how you're going to get your income. Okay. Are you going to get a job? Right? Are you going to go work from home job? Are you going to find a job out there? Are you an entrepreneur where you can work remote? Or maybe you start to learn a skill, right? This is where building your skill set comes in. That's what I was doing when I was, I've been learning how to trade. And then, I was learning how to trade. And then also I did the Google Career Certificate, stuff like that. Like, I was taking all types of courses on EDX. Like, I was trying to build my skill set because I was like, I knew I'm going to need to I need to make money. And so what are you going to do, right? Are you going to learn a new skill and start putting yourself out there? Like, hey, maybe you want to learn how to design websites, or maybe you want to be a virtual assistant. Like, I don't know, whatever it is that you want to do, you want to learn a new skill so that you can put extra money in your pocket for your move, or maybe, whatever you need to do. Okay. You got to get some income. So you have to figure that part out. Do not move without having either a substantial amount of savings already. You either need 3 months of savings, right? Or you need a job lined up so you can figure out how to pivot. I don't recommend going and getting a loan, because I want us to progress in all areas of life. But if you feel like that's what you need to do, but you do need some income. So income is the second thing. Childcare, okay? So when I first was moving, right, I applied to childcare assistance. So either you're going to come out of pocket for daycare completely, or you could try to look to see if you qualify for like childcare assistance or something like that, because, as single moms, like you tap into those resources. I used to have like an ego thing with using resources. Like, it took me, when I was eligible for food stamps, it took me forever to just go get my food stamps because I felt like it said something about me. But like, girl, just get the help, receive the help. Okay. So look for child care assistance programs, or maybe you look at in-home daycares if you feel like those cost a little less. The cost of daycare right now is so crazy. Or if your kids are school age, then you just researching what schools. Luckily, you could just send them, you could send them to school, but you have to figure out the childcare aspect of things. Now, right now, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I work from home. My son is not in daycare. Okay. He stays here. And then the last thing that you're going to need is, transportation. So, when I moved here, I had a car. But maybe it just depends on your life. You know your life best. You know your life best. Your lifestyle, what you got going on. Do you need a car? If you feel like, you need a car, then get a car. Or if you have a car, then you got your car. Or maybe if you want to take the bus or the train, like, however, you just need to understand that what are you doing for transportation? Are you going to Uber? Because you can Uber. If you want to Uber, then do your Ubers, Or maybe, like me, you find somewhere where a lot of the things you need are close by. So let me tell you, I'm going to be transparent right now. My car crapped out on me in December, and I finally figured out what was wrong with it like last month. And basically, I'm saving for a new car, right? So I don't really have a car. I have a car, but I don't have a car that works. So I already do a lot of walking, so the grocery store is not too far. I walk, but I don't do my grocery runs. I do a lot of Instacart, and I mainly Instacart. And then, like I said, I have a roommate, so I use her car if I need to. But you do need to figure out what you're going to do for transportation. You just want to know that. Even if it's like, okay, I'm going to just take the bus whenever I need to go somewhere. As long as you got it in your head that that's what you're doing and you're okay with that, cool. If you feel like you want to have your own car, you don't want to take no bus, then maybe this is where you set up you save for a car or just whatever, but you do need to have your transportation figured out because you have to get around. If you focus on these four things, you can make your move happen. Once you know you got somewhere to stay, once you know you have a way to make money, once you know you got your childcare situation figured out, whether that is your kids staying home with you, because like I said, my son stays home with me now, whether that's your kids staying home with you or whether you actually send them to daycare, it's up to you. You just need to have a plan, right? You got to put a plan in place. I'm not saying everything is going to go according to plan, okay? There was some stuff that happened, and I'll talk more about that maybe on a different episode, but I had enough in place to make the move happen, and I got here, I got to Florida to then be able to be like, oh, okay, now I just got to keep figuring stuff out. So if it's worth it to you, you'll do what's required. But this is how I was able to relocate to a new city. And if I were to move to another city, I would do the exact same thing. The exact same thing. And also, single mamas, leverage your tax return or any big lump sums of money that you get. That is also what I did. A lot of people like to fuck off their tax return, okay? I've always invested my tax return somehow, whether I invested it into myself, invested it into learning something that I wanted to learn, or invested it into potentially changing my environment, right? I used my tax return to my own benefit, and I made my move happen. I put most of my money from my tax return to the side to help, because there's so much I want to teach y'all. We're just going to have to do another episode about like handling like finances, but I'm not like a financial expert or guru, but I've just been on a person that's on my own financial journey. But I did leverage my tax return because I did go ahead and look at my numbers, see what was my bills every month and what my projected bills would be once I moved. And then I was able to see, okay, I'm a disabled veteran, so I do get a check every month. And I'm not 100%. People on TikTok, when I had made this one video, assume that I'm getting 100%. I don't get 100%. I just learned how to live under my means, okay? Learn how to live under your means, and you can do anything, okay? So I learned how to live under my means, but I was able to calculate my expenses and stuff like that, and I put that to the side. So even the moving costs, because I knew I was going to have to pay, we had to pay a deposit to move in, as well as, we had to pay our rent. We had to get stuff cut on in that house. Then when you first move into a house, you need everything. You need mops, you need food, you need all of this stuff. So I was able to, I set all of that to the side. I didn't take my tax return and go to Miami, okay? I didn't do that. I took my tax return, I set it to the side to make something happen for myself. So if you are wanting to relocate, I mean, I know I'm dropping this video in the beginning of the, like in March. So tax season is pretty much like damn near over. But like, if you say, you want to move next year, you're like, this is my last year being where I'm at. Or maybe it's your like, if you get a lump sum of money somehow, I highly encourage you to use that to make your move happen. Because once you get to a place and you already once you get there, you can figure it out. You just have to trust that you can figure it out. I have to trust that, okay, all right, no matter what happens, once I get to Florida, once I'm there, I can just figure everything else out. So those are my tips. That's what I did to relocate. That's what I'm telling you to do if you are looking to relocate. So I hope you took some notes. If you didn't, go ahead, watch this video back, take some more notes. But I'm going to go ahead, for the sake of your notes, give you the key elements, all right? Determine your why. Why do you want to move? Write it out. Y'all just thinking shit is enough. No, you need to write stuff out. I have so many journals and notebooks and planners. Like, let me see. I'm pretty sure. Literally, listen. This was last year. You see, Tampa move. I said I was going to have a car. I said car, employment, childcare, logistics, and finances. Those was the things I was looking at. So for my car, I needed to get my new tags and registration. I knew I needed to tune up. I needed to get a tune up, but then I had to decide if I was going to ship my car, or I was going to drive, or what I was going to do. Like literally, I wrote this stuff out. Okay, I wrote this stuff out. I want you to write it out. Okay, write this stuff out so you can put together a legit plan and include your why. Why do you want to move? So what is your why? Except that you are going to live a different lifestyle in exchange for a different environment. And then what you need to exist. You need a place to stay. You need income. You need childcare. And you need transportation. And then the last thing is you need to find community online. So join Facebook groups of people that's in those cities that you're looking for. There's always Facebook groups. There's always Facebook groups. I will die on that hill. There's always Facebook groups for everything. There is a Facebook group for freaking everything, okay? But specifically for when you're trying to move to a new city, like I'm part of Tampa Bay girlies in their 20s and 30s. I'm a part of Tampa Bay and St. Pete local businesses. I'm a part of Tampa Bay St. Pete moms support group. Like, listen, find the Facebook group. Okay, get on Facebook, find the group, look on TikTok. That's what you're going to do. And I'm excited to see where y'all going to move. If you got to the end of this video, okay, go ahead and put in the comments, where are you thinking about moving you and your babies to, okay? Or your baby, your child. Where are y'all thinking about, where are you thinking about moving y'all to? Where do you want to go? All right? And make sure it makes sense, okay? Financially, make sure it makes sense. I am all about us being delusional and going for our goals. And also, I want us to be strategic, right? Because if I would have had it my way, I would have moved straight to California. But I knew that I cannot afford that. California, especially San Diego, is expensive as hell in San Diego. And I knew I could, as much as I love San Diego, realistically, I knew I could not afford that comfortably. And you want to still be able to, like, enjoy life while you're there. Like, you don't want to move away just to be on the struggle bus all the time. You want to go get in a new environment, get fresh perspective so you can thrive and grow and create something new and beautiful for you and your child. So make sure it also makes sense for you financially. That's why I said that even if I didn't have, like right now we have a beautiful 3-bedroom apartment, but even if I wouldn't have had the roommate situation with my best friend, me and my son, we would have been either a 1-bedroom or probably a studio based on the rents here. It would have been nice to be in the 2-bedroom, but like also I have a certain standard of living. So I'd rather take a more modern, nice, updated 1-bedroom over an okay 2 or 3. So that's just me. So just make sure it makes sense for you financially. Like, this is where you're going to have to put your big girl drawers on and, make a real plan and do what needs to do and execute every day. Even when I wasn't getting jobs, even when I look on Indeed and I was seeing not selected by employer, not selected by employer, not selected by employer, I still kept at it. I still kept applying to jobs. I did not stop. Do not stop. Get it? Like, I'm telling y'all to get in them Facebook groups. So I hope this video helped you, and I'm excited to see where you and your babies, end up. If you are going to relocate to Tampa, Florida, then I would like to tap in with y'all, okay? I love to make new friends. I love to meet new people, and I do love to network. So, yeah. But let me know where it is that y'all are thinking about moving. Let me know if this video or this episode helped you, and I'm going to see y'all in the next episode.